Don't plant sunflowers unless you really like sunflowers. I'm procrastinating. I know it doesn't seem like it because I'm about to do a project, but I am doing these projects to avoid doing a big project. So, you know, whatever works. Sometimes you gotta work around yourself. And this is how I'm going to continue moving forward with stuff, even though I really don't want to. So, 3 things planned today. First project involves this plant. I think that's the one I pointed at. That's weeds. This is a cucumber, and it is the only kind of squash-like plant I've ever had any kind of luck with the squash bugs leaving it alone. Any other kind of squash, they're all over it. Sometimes they'll go after the cucumber if there are squash elsewhere, but I'm hoping that they leave this alone since there are none. No other squash. So the thing about cucumbers is that they vine. And if you'll notice, there's nowhere for this one to vine. I'm gonna fix that. Rather than just letting it spread across this bed, which is otherwise empty, beyond a few weeds, I'm going to kind of trellis it upwards. I do have this structure, which I had originally built for tomatoes, to do the string trellis kind of thing, where you hang a string down, you prune the tomato to one stalk, and then as that stalk grows, you wrap it around the string, and the string supports it. And it worked as well as it could. I mean, again, this is not a very sunny area, so I don't think the tomatoes did as well as they could have, but the string method itself worked. So since we don't have tomatoes over here this year, I've got the cucumbers over here, and I think I'm gonna do something a little bit different for them, because I don't think a single string would be enough. I have this roll of hardware cloth that I don't remember what we bought it for originally, but I have it. And so I'm gonna cut a length of it off and hang it from the top of this structure all the way down, and then kind of weight it at the bottom so that the cucumber can grow up it. I'm kind of hoping that the holes aren't big enough for the plant to want to put flowers on the opposite side, because that'll just make it easier to harvest for me. But nature, you never really know what it's gonna do. At least it's not like up against the fence, so I should be able to like reach behind there if there's a cucumber later on. Got my snips, got my wire, so I'm going to just attach some wire to the top, attach the top there, and cut it off when it gets to the bottom. So literally that's it, just twisted some wire to hold it up there. And then down here I'm gonna cut it and weight it down with an extra brick or two. Okay, do we think that this will grow that way? Maybe. We hope so. Yeah, it's not the prettiest thing I've ever made, but it'll do the job. Okay. Next on the agenda also involves the ladder and wire cutters. This string light here, I've got 3 of them. One of them has burnt out, so I'm going to have to replace it, but they are solar, and I like them. They're good. Other than, you know, the burnt out one, but generally speaking, they work well. We originally bought them like 2 years ago because we wanted to light up this part of the yard pretty much just to see the dogs in the dark. And so I strung them across. There's one going this way, that one going across, and another one over there. Well, I've decided I don't like that anymore. My brain likes change, so we're gonna change it. Also, last year, I installed a porch light on the back of the house. So when that's on, we have pretty good illumination for the middle of the yard. And it really is only the perimeter that needs lit up now. So what I'm going to do is move these lights. I am going to string them along the fence instead, and maybe get a little bit of ambient light that way. In the future, I think it would be nice to have crisscrossing kind of bistro lights across the yard. I think I'd be better off with the plug-in sort for that, because I'm really limited in where these can be placed, because the solar panels have to be in the light, obviously. So I think if I were to install an electrical outlet under the eave in the corner beside the patio, that would be the best place to plug in lights and maybe a fan so we could enjoy the patio when it's hot. I'm already sweating. But that's, that'll be in the future. Probably not anytime soon. I do have a big porch redo planned, and I'll probably tie that all in together, do it all at once. But, since we have the porch light, we don't need the overhead lights right now. It would mostly be for funsies, for pretty. But I do think this will look good too. I'm going to string them up and kind of have like a scallop kind of deal happening. And I do want to have them strung and hanging from the posts. So I'm going to start with this back part of the fence. I've got some cup hooks, so I just need to measure out the ends from the ground, run a string between them so that everything's all at the same height. Drill some pilot holes, screw the screws, and then take these down. That's going to be the worst part, honestly. Also, notice the color. We stained the inside of the fence because most of this back section hadn't ever been coated in anything. We'd had clear coat on pretty much everywhere else, but we ran out and never got more when we got to this back section, so we were just kind of like, whatever, it's fine. But the ravages of time were showing, so we pressure washed it all, and the pressure washer was tricky. Left some nasty marks, so we went with a solid stain on the back, well, on the inside. It ended up looking pretty good, so we did it all the way. We haven't decided whether we're going to stain the opposite side over here, because that is the visible side. I think that if we power wash it, it'll just clean up real nice, and we can leave it for a year or two. That is yet to be seen. I have to clean it first. But anyway, just wanted a little color update. I really like it. I think it helps the fence to kind of visually recede. Because it's dark, it doesn't stand out so much. But it's still really pretty when you look at it, so good stuff. 48-foot string lights. I've got about 52 feet here. I think I'm not going to be in the actual corner. I don't think it's going to make it that far. And I'm going to put the solar panel over there on that side. So I think I'm going to end up at that post for the end. I'm thinking this height would be good. So I'm just going to measure from the ground and eyeball to the middle. 5 feet? 5 feet sounds good. About here. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and show you the trick for installing cup hooks that I read somewhere, and then I'm just gonna do the whole thing. So you'll take one, start it in your pilot hole, and then instead of, killing your fingers, put an extra one in your drill. Hook it in there, and then gently, be very careful. If you can. It's a lot easier. So that is what I'm going to do for the rest of these. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not get the string out. I just measured each one because there's like 7 posts. It's not a big deal. Okay. Now I gotta get these lights down, which is going to be a situation. That is where I attached one end of these lights. And it has the turnbuckle. Couldn't remember what it was called. Turnbuckle on it. So what I'm gonna do is release some of the tension on that so that it's safe to remove. Look at this. Squirrels. That shouldn't look like that. I don't think it's like an active end or anything, but squirrels. Yeah, I think that's nice. And then this one's got bulb on the hook, so it shouldn't go anywhere. Although I'll probably come back out here with some more zip ties and attach them to the hooks, like for real, so that they don't slide around. These are good. Okay, so second one's gonna go right here along this part of the fence. And I don't think I mentioned, I'm not worried about this corner, this very far corner here, because I got a security light already set up over here. So if these are 48 feet long, I don't know if that includes that tail end, but 48 feet will be like 6 fence panels. Yeah, a little less than 6 with the scallops. So I'm gonna say if we go from here over to wherever that ends up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably right above the strawberry bed. I'm slightly worried about having it in front of this because cucumbers are wily and they will grab onto anything, but I'm not too worried, honestly. I think it'll be fine. We just move the lights out of the way if the cucumbers start getting aggressive. So I'm gonna add some more hooks and do the next step. I'll try to get a night shot of these if I can, but I mean, take it with a grain of salt because night pictures never quite look like what they look like in real life. So I'll do my best. Probably won't be as bright as it looks like in the picture, but I think it'll look good regardless. So also, I guess I should mention, the last one will go from the end of that down and across. I'll have a nice little perimeter lighting situation. I think I'm gonna wait to do the last thing till tomorrow because it's already afternoon, which means it's hot, and it would be best to do that in the morning because then I'll be in the shade. So, and it's definitely a lot brighter than it actually is, but you know, nice little pinpricks in real life. It looks jaunty. I like it. It's the next day, and I'm wearing long sleeves in 80-ish degree heat because it's time to deal with these things. They are as tall as I am, maybe a little bit taller, which means that they are about to get to the point where they can no longer be easily bent. So every other year that I've had these and they've done this, I waited too long to try to push them upright, and it was very impossible. So I've tried using garden stakes before, and they're just too flimsy. So this year, I've got some fence poles. I think these are used for like decorative metal fencing, but hopefully they work a lot better than garden stakes. They're pretty rigid, and they have this nice spike. So I'm hoping they go in and they stay in and they stay straight, because I am going to put strings in between them. So these are going to go on either side of this bed, closer towards the house, and then I'm going to put probably a couple, 2 or 3 sets of strings, kind of like push them back. So in the past I've used a single string to hold all of this, but that's about 2 feet deep, and I don't know a whole lot about math. I only got a C in trigonometry, but I do know that if I try to do that again with how the plants are arranged, one set of them is going to be leaning. Either the back's going to be going like that, or the front's going to be going like that. So I want to use 2 or 3 sets of strings and kind of thread them in to different levels of plants. So we'll have like the back and the front, maybe a middle if we need to. And it's really just a precaution at this point, but I've seen what it's done in the past. So we're gonna pop these in. Let's say right here. If maybe right here. There we go. I'm gonna stick this one in and get a hammer and try to put them farther in. So we don't use this doorway really, except for like if we need to take stuff in the basement, but it's still kind of an issue. Hammer time. It's pretty solidly in the ground, even though it's not all the way. They feel pretty wobbly, but I think the wobble is due to the connection between the spike and the pole being a single screw. So we're gonna try it out. If I hammer too hard, I'm gonna bend the fins, and that kind of defeats the purpose. So I'm gonna go ahead and try. I couldn't find my surveyor's like pink string, but honestly I didn't really want to I don't want to use it anyway. It was a little bit too bright. So we're gonna try this, and I don't know if it'll work long term. It's twine, so it will biodegrade, but it's better than nothing, and it's what I have. Okay, it's not too bad. I mean, they're all a little bit different. It's okay. It seems to work. I did have to do 3 because, again, math, leaning, they get really tall. You can see by that dead one there that they get about 8 foot tall. So I will probably end up needing another string even higher up, just to keep them from leaning past it. And if this wasn't a driveway, I probably wouldn't care, but we use this driveway. So anyway, I did have to get rid of some of these smaller stalks that were not actually in the ground. I'm not sure what this thing thought it was growing in, but that wasn't dirt. So those will go in the compost heap. And I'm gonna give this maybe a week to see how well it stands up and see if the poles start leaning, because that's always been my biggest problem with these, is that they're so strong that the poles just go eh. And if it does seem to hold up well, seem like it will continue to hold up, I'm gonna get more because I have another set. And it probably would need 3 poles for this one because it's just a bit longer. I would get a set of them for this one and for my big rose bush over by where we park the truck, because she likes to spread too, and she's trying to take over the driveway and she can't do that either, no more than the sunflowers can. So if I could just get her to, like, I might even take this, it's being used as a trellis now, but it wasn't originally. It was part of the skirting for the porch original, I think, but I would just put a couple poles up on either side of that rose bush and stick that in this way. I think that would provide a pretty good stop for her, keep her from pushing her way into the driveway, but that will be another video. Thank you for watching. See you then.